broadcaster became the Telecaster.
Oh, the no-caster became the Telecaster.
Broadcaster, no-caster, Telecaster.
This is Dan, whose last name I'm not going to say, so you can't look up his information and find his place.
Right.
Because we're going to show you a really neat collection of stuff here. Oh my, yes. This is a newer Rickenbacker, right?
It is. That's actually the about a 1993 version of the Roger McGinn limited edition with the compressor. To a 12-string, three pickup.
Yeah.
It's a Rickenbacker 370. And believe me, when somebody that knows what they're playing starts playing Mr. Tambourine Man or Turn, 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 you can tell.
Yeah. We're going through a Farfisa here that's in really nice shape. This is the top's over there of the red top. For it, we've been talking about these Mark 9.
Oh, these are gorgeous, just gorgeous Vox.
Yeah.
And I've always loved the teardrop shape of the Vox guitars.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And actually had a teardrop, but it was not a Vox way back. This one happens to be a 9-string, which I didn't know existed until my brother, the guitar player, told me about it. He said, "You gotta get one." I said, "Okay, I'll get one."
Yeah.
So these are sort of brother and sister, 6 and 9 string.
Yeah, wow. That's, the other one. And then we're over here into another Rickenbacker.
That actually was the first. I've always loved the look of Rickenbackers. That's the first Rickenbacker that I bought. That's a 1966.
Yeah.
I believe that's called a 335. And the 5 indicates that it has a trem bar on the end, as opposed to a 330, which would be without the trem bar. That's a wonderful playing guitar. I just love that one.
Yeah.
And I don't play particularly well. I just collect.
Yeah.
Well, you're focusing on Penny Lane, which is the wall of the Beatles.
Yes.
If you will.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a 64 Gretsch Country Gentleman. It is ostensibly identical to the guitar that George played for a number of years when the Beatles first hit the big time.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, nice. And then we're looking at the Hofner bass here.
That's actually a 65, which is a couple of years older than the Hofner that Paul played. And of course, I've got a right-hander instead of Paul's left-hander. But, and the funny thing is that the hollow body Hofners have such a different tone than the solid bodies do.
Yeah, nice. And we're to another Rickenbacker there.
That's, and I'm trying to think, maybe a 360C, and I'm not real sure of the numbers, but there are a couple of versions of this particular sharp-horned Rickenbacker that George played on Ticket to Ride and a few other of the later, or 64, 65, 66 Beatles songs. That's a 12-string. This one, I'm told, is closer to an original George Harrison version than there's another version, an H version or something. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, very nice. That's beautiful. Yeah, and we're on to the other Rickenbacker there.
Our friend Paul, or John, listen to me. Johnny. That particular, there are a number of versions of the 325, and they're very close to a version that I think it's called the 355, Rick, but they're 3/4 size. And the reason John always played a 3/4 size guitar, which is a neck that's much shorter, is because he learned to play guitar in the banjo because of his Aunt Julia. Anyway, this particular version of the 325 with that trem bar is one that he played in Miami at that concert. Yes. That one is saved for my grandson.
Yes.
But he has to get good grades.
Yep.
That 285 Gibson, I think that's what it is. My brother just always loved the sounds of those. So I bought that actually for my brother. That's an 86, but it's all but brand new.
Yeah. All right. And we're looking at another slightly thinner body there.
Yep, that's a Gibson 330, I believe is what that's. Oh golly, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. But anyway, it's a 1960, and you talk about a guitar that just plays easy, and a wonderful sound, of course.
Yeah.
And that has the early style. And I'm trying to think of the name or number of the pickups, and maybe P35s, P65s.
Oh, this one does?
It does.
Yeah.
You can see the screws are in the middle of the pickup, as opposed to if you'll pan to your right, in the tobacco burst, you can see the screws in those humbucker pickups are top and bottom. And it gives an entirely different sound. You know, it's just what you like.
Yeah.
The 1960 version is one that Chuck Berry played.
Oh yeah.
And thus the red and all. The tobacco burst. You know, I really wanted to buy an all black one that like Roy Orbison played for so long, but I just couldn't pass up that tobacco burst.
Then here we've got another, what is that, a S or?
That, let me think. Now if you hadn't asked me, I would have been able to tell you. But that's an old Gibson.
Yeah.
That one actually is a 1960 version as well. And when my brother and I were playing in a band, the second band, and much better than we, actually had, the entire band had these particular Gibson SGs.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. And they all had it, so I've remembered forever that I've got to get that double horn.
Yeah.
You know, it was very inexpensive.
I just don't remember this rigging on the...
No, that I think is an add-on. I've not been able to find that. If you pull the strings back, that actually is a trim bar. Or a trim bar setup.
Yeah.
But it was such a good deal that I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, SG, a friend of mine played in a band quite a bit, and that was always my favorite sound of his. It's really nice blues guitar.
And one that Pete Townsend broke a number of them.
Yeah. Let's see.
Jack Bruce and his Gibson EB3 bass guitar. And I remember to this day my brother Doug. He learned to play with Cream and Disraeli gears. Yeah. And so Jack Bruce and Clapton and Ginger Baker were always sort of, in the back of our minds, and that sort of thing. Yeah. So I had to have that. Well, besides that, look at the string. What do you call these jobs?
Oh yeah, machines tuning.
Yeah, the tuning things. They're right off the back. And I just thought that was just pretty cool. You just don't see that.
That's a little different. Yeah.
EB1s have them off the side, as I recall. And anyway.
Nice. And what are we looking at here?
This is a 1960 Gibson Birdland.
Yeah.
And it's a blonde, although it's a darker blonde. But the reason I got this one was because my brother, my wife now, but my girlfriend then, and 3 or 4 of the other of us would follow Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes up and down I-75 in Michigan. And Ted Nugent, of course, was famous for playing a Gibson Birdland.
Yeah, how nice.
Albeit his was more blonde than this one. And I have an original Birdland tailpiece that we'll be putting on.
Nice.
But that's a dandy. I just love that one.
Yeah. No machine gun attachment?
Not yet.
Okay.
No. Yeah. There was another group that would often play with the Amboy Dukes and Iggy Pop and the Three Stooges and the MC5 and the Bob Seger system. And that was a group called the SRC, and that stood for Scott Richard Case. And this Les Paul Black Beauty was one played by Gary Quackenbush, the lead guitar player for the SRC.
Yeah, well.
And that's actually a fatter neck than what is comfortable for me, but I'm told that the good guitar players like those, so I don't know.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that looks like an interesting piece, kind of chunky. And we got a couple Jaguars.
Well, you have literally cousins. They're the Jaguar on the left and the Jazzmaster on the right, and you can tell the difference between because of the pickups, as well as the headstocks, of course. Those were both manufactured in June of 1965. Now, I'd like to say that I bought it that way, but I didn't. I just happened to luck out that I corresponded with some old geezers from Tennessee and one from Kentucky, and this is what I ended up with, and they're just gorgeous.
Yeah, that's nice for yeah, most of the stuff's in pretty nice shape, including of course our precision bass.
You know, we're just not going to find a nicer P bass than this one up there. It's a 74, I believe.
Oh.
And it's all original, including the pickup covers.
Oh yeah.
Etc. But geez, that's
quite a piece.
Yeah, and I'm looking. The last guitar that I'm interested in actually is a fretless jazz bass.
Oh yeah.
But those are very hard to find, so we'll sort of see about that.
Yeah. Oh, what's that guy? That's a Tilly something. Oh, yeah.
These two darlings are what I call the sisters. I have two daughters that are sisters. Yeah, they're 2 years apart. But these two, one is a Fender Stratocaster and one's a Fender Telecaster. Left is a Telecaster, as your good people will know. They're both. This is a matching set, both from 1973, and both in the butterscotch. No, not the butterscotch. I'm sorry, in the Olympic white, the Olympic white finish, which I'm told is very difficult to find. But as it ages, it turns into what's commonly referred to as more of a butterscotch color than what they were originally made for.
Nice, yeah, that's a beaut. Yeah, my uncle's got a Strat from about the same year. I think it's worth quite a bit. Yeah, those things.
Well, you get back into the '60s, and the Stratocasters are $15,000-$18,000.
Yeah, he said his was somewhere up in that.
Won't go for that.
Yeah, and then this guy here is your Mulsarite.
I've always been enamored with the Ventures. From the 1960 Walk Don't Run right on through Hawaii 5-0 and 66. This one actually, I think, has been refinished, but it's an exceptionally good job, and the tailpiece is what makes this one particularly special, because it has what should be on all Mosrite guitars, and that is the Mosley tailpiece there.
Yeah, beautiful.
But this one's for sale right now.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get one that's definitely original and probably a little older than that. But it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Nice. Yeah. Did we get these already? No, we didn't get these, did we?
These are the grandchildren. These two are a matched set. Again, these are on the Fender, what I call Fender Alley. That's where we've been the past, 5 minutes or so. The one on the left is a Mustang. The one on the right is a Music Master, and they're both a '61 vintage in what's known as, and let me see if I can remember the red color. Oh, it escapes me. Dakota red, I believe, is what it is. Finish. A little bit. They're a little bit more well played.
A few little guys there, tiny.
But to be able to get a matched set that I call the grandchildren, and the grandchildren are actually right below. Meet Michael and Sadie. That's what those two are. Of course, we have to get another one now, because we have a Tyler grandchild. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that.
Oh yeah, very good. And then Then the broadcaster.
This last one actually has quite a story behind it. This is a remake, unfortunately, of the 1950 Fender Broadcaster. And the story behind the Broadcaster is that Leo Fender made it, called it the Broadcaster, and then, as I recall, Gretsch had a problem with the name, copyright infringement or something.
Yep.
And as I recall, Leo didn't put up a fight, but he just said, "Oh, fine, I'll take that off."
Yep. And
so for the next year or 2 or 3, I can't remember, the Broadcaster was no longer. It was only made for a year or thereabouts, and he called the next version the No-Caster.
Yes, yes. Better than the Outcaster.
Yeah, better than the Outcaster. And then it was either 53, I think, or 54, and the Telecaster was born. And it's been the Telecaster ever since.
Yep, yep. Well, that's a good synopsis. Thanks, Dan.
Oh, my pleasure.
Showing us all that stuff. We're working on a few Vox organs and things here. He's got guy did a fantastic job on the covering here. His neighbor does some nice work. Super Continental, obviously, and then a Continental we're into doing some glue clamp job on here. But both these are going to look real nice when we get done.
And Bob does fabulous work,
well,
so give him some business.
If he can just remember to bring his parts. All right, and I'm beat, and we've got everything solved on every one of these, I think. Long day's work, but we got a Continental, a Super Continental, and I didn't put the top on the lovely Farfisa yet. Everything else going on with it. Sweet shape, and the reverb works. I should power that up just to let you hear the beautiful reverb, but heard one reverb, you heard them all, right? Well, sort of these things, have a magnetic, or they degrade. What's kind of crystal pickup or whatever in them, like an old magnetic or crystal pickup. I can't remember which it is. I'm too tired to think. Yeah, they've got a bit of material in there that chemically reacts on itself, and they usually go bad, but this one's actually working. The original reverb can down there with its fur coating. But yeah, that's a really nice one. So we are out of here to Rob's place